G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on Cliffside to watch two Conqueror 3 players take each other on in a hell of a game. Ladies and gentlemen, sporting in on the north side of the map in the colour yellow, playing as the Order of the Dragon, it's Corvinus 1, aka Salami. And on the south side of the map in the colour teal, playing as the Juicy Legacy, it's hell yeah, brother, aka Beastie. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a casted game. It is a pleasure to have your company here today. We've got a very special one for you. Of course, we've got two incredibly good players that we're going to be focusing here on seeing exactly what they get up to in the early game. Naturally, we're going to move into our split screen to see exactly where these two guys are at, and obviously we can see not only where their scouts are, but where their scouts have gone, which is always lovely. In the early game, the most important thing to do with your scout is get out on the map, locate those resources, but more importantly, find those sheep. Not only do you deny 250 food from your opponent, you also pick it up for yourself, which is very, very nice. Both players going with almost identical positions with their scouts to start things off, and naturally, looks like the sheep number is going to be pretty similar to each other. Normally on this map, you can expect to pull in about anywhere between 10 to 12 sheep is pretty reasonable. But one of the good things about it, though, is just from your starting perspective, not only do you have those 3 sheep that you always get, you've also got 2 that are close by, normally. And sometimes you can get hit with pretty bad RNG on that. You know, if your 2 sheep are at the back of your base, you have to move your scout to go and get them, and then that draws away from the potential to go towards the front. So if your opponent gets to the front a little bit earlier than what you do, then it sometimes mean that you can lose a couple of sheep out to them. But pretty even Stevens at the moment. 8 sheep versus 6. It looks like Corvinus about to pick up a 9th sheep here as well. Beastie looking to try and find anything that he can. And both of these civilizations do get pretty decent bonuses from sheep. Number one, for the Juicy Legacy, you've got the Imperial Official, which can buff those sheep up by 20%. And on the other side, for Corvinus, if you do opt for the Archon Chapel, which is pretty rare as this civilization, but if you do opt for it, it will mean that you'll be able to boost that up a little bit as well, because you've got access to a slightly higher gather rate. So both civs are invested, or not invested, but they want to look to try and secure as many sheep as they can. You know, compare that to a civilization like the English or the Japanese, who aren't even really going to be using all of their sheep. They'll be moving over to farms pretty damn quickly. All right, age-ups are coming through. It's going to be the Meditation Gardens now coming down here for Beastie. Nice little spot that he's got here. Going to be able to pick up the 6 berries, stone, double stone actually, and gets the wood line here. One thing to note, though, is that the villager is not in position. It's taken some time for him to get out here. He's cancelled it, actually. What's going on here, Beastie? No, he's decided to bring it back to the base. I wonder what this is all about, because I thought that was actually a pretty good spot that he had there. I wonder why he's decided to keep it closer. Is he fearful that he's up against the Order of the Dragon and that there might be some early aggression coming out? That could be the case. So we'll have to wait and see how he plays it out there. Meanwhile, we'll right on board with Corvinus, as it is going to be the Minework Palace that is coming up for him. So no real surprise there. The Minework Palace is considered by many to be the only viable landmark that you can go for this civilization. Unfortunately, with the Archon Chapel, it's not good enough. What is it? It's like 10%. Let's quickly check here. Yeah, an extra 10%, which isn't a lot. I mean, and it's 10% of the base gather rate of the villager, which isn't bad, but you know, it's not that amazing. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about where we can expect these civilizations to go. Now, both of these civilizations have I wouldn't say a burden, but a desire to get to Castle Age quickly. The Order of the Dragon, with their Regnitz Cathedral, wants to try and put relics away. So that's going to be a big focus. But by the same token, for the Juicy Legacy, you can opt to go for a fast castle strategy, look to go into those bald monks, and look to pick up relics. But it's not as popular as it used to be. It used to be really popular back when the bald men strategy was actually quite a viable strat. I remember going 100% bald men and just laughing at my opponent as the hits came in thick and thin. But on that north side, though, age up does come through from Corvinus. And where do we go from here? It looks like we've got Castle Age coming out from him. I want to check with Beastie. Beastie's going for an archery range, and have a look at the timing on this. Beastie going to be going for some early aggression here, and I've got to say, I do like this. I think this makes a lot of sense. One of the things I haven't spoken about in this matchup is just that it is a relatively difficult matchup for the Chinese or Juicy Legacy playing against the Order of the Dragon or the Holy Roman Empire, and that's just because the timings that they've got are just so much better than the Chinese or the Jussi Legacy. Essentially, they can get to Imperial, they can get to Castle Age, they can get their units out, they can get all the relics before you can really do much to them. So the sooner you can get out on the map and annoy them or ruin their plan, like we see Beastie now doing here as he forces back Corvinus's villagers that were out on the deer, and there's still plenty of deer to be had here. How many? Yeah, we got 3 full carcasses, and one of them is about to be eaten. But I'll be honest, that's a pretty decent haul that's gone through already for Corvinus here. And also, he didn't invest into survival techniques, so it means that he's really not losing a whole bunch by not being out there. A lot of villagers on gold, though. Let's check and see whether Beastie's going to be able to spot this one out. We can see the scout on that top side doesn't actually see the gold. Also important to note that we do actually have the outpost that's on the gold, which means that there's pretty much no way that Beastie's going to be able to stop this age up from coming through. You can see the outpost getting filled with villagers immediately as soon as a Beastie gets close. I think my question is, how does Corvinus go about defending against this? Does he look to play greedy and go into the Regnitz Cathedral? Because if he does look to play greedy going into the Regnitz Cathedral, it could be difficult for him to hold against this many Zhuge-Nu that are inevitably going to be coming out. We can see Beastie up to 7 Zhuge-Nu now. What else is Beastie working on? What else is he cooking up on this side of the map? He's got upgrades, so we see 3 out of the 4 base eco upgrades. Hasn't picked up forestry just yet. So only missing out on forestry, also missing out on specialized pick, and we now start to see it's going to be an early battering ram coming in for Beastie, and it will be the Regnitz Cathedral, and I do like this. I think this is the right call from Corvinus. I feel like if you do go into the mine work, it is the best way, oh sorry, not the mine work, the Burgrave. The best way to say it is, it's nice to have the Burgrave, but it just falls off. It falls off so damn quickly. Whereas the Regnitz is an actual win condition, right? Like, if I can get to 4 relics with my Regnitz Cathedral, you're in trouble. It doesn't matter whether we're in Castle, it doesn't matter whether we're in Imperial, you're in trouble, because that is so much free gold. Not to mention the fact that you're also denying those relics out from your opponent. But Beastie going to be going with a Ram Rush here. Now, I'm curious to see the extent that he utilizes the Ram. There is a strategy that is starting to pick up in... how would I say, popularity, where basically you get your Zhuge-Nu and you put them inside the battering ram, and they basically become invulnerable. It takes a bit of micro, and if there's anyone who can do it, it's Beastie. But essentially the way it works is you put all of your Zhuge-Nu in the battering ram, you go and attack the outpost, and these villagers are going to try and pop out of the outpost and siege down the battering ram, and when that happens, the Zhuge-Nu will pop out and they will shoot the villagers. But it looks like at this stage, Beastie is just going to be forcing his opponent to forfeit the gold. Now, keep in mind, there are other avenues for gold on this map, especially on this map. One of the great things about Cliffside is that there is plenty of gold, though it is very concentrated towards the center of the map, but it's quite a large area that it is actually put out. Emergency repairs will come through. A little bit of a waste, though, to be honest. I mean, you probably... I don't even know if it's really worth throwing it down there. You're just going to delay the inevitable here. Archery range coming in for Corvinus. Interesting decision to go into archery range. I would have thought it was going to be stable. That's what I thought. I thought there was no way it was going to be anything else. It would have to be stable. But he's going to go into archery range. So what is that all about? In fact, it's going to be double archery range coming in for him here. So very interesting opening coming out so far. Second battering ram also going to be coming in for Beastie. Meanwhile, behind this, let's check in with the upgrade. Still no specialized pick, still no forestry, but he is booming. +1 ranged attack is through. +1 ranged armor on the way in as well for Beastie now. So it is a slow and steady build up for him here. Oh, have a look at this. Scale armor is coming through for Corvinus. And what this is going to mean is that all of the damage that his archers are taking will get reduced to 1. Because Beastie's doing 5 damage with each shot from his Zhuge-Nu, and they do 3 shots every volley. So naturally, if you've got 5 armor, in this case you've got 1, and it's about to go to 2, and then it will go to 5. So technically you don't actually have to get the wedge rivets, but they're cheap, so you might as well. Because 4 armor will do the exact same thing as 5 armor will do in this situation. But we see that house is now going to get emergency repairs. Fortunately, it did come back up in time, so that'll buy him a little bit of space over there. Mine work. I don't think he's too fussed about it going down, and now looking to put on the pressure. Beastie having a nice little early game here. Villager count still slightly higher, and that is because you've got the Order of the Dragon villagers. Remember that these villagers are stronger than the standard villager, but they also take a little bit longer to build. Slightly more expensive, but just all round better. Another thing to note, no relics in just yet. can see we've got a little bit of a patrol coming through. I'm not sure whether a prelate has been taken out over on that top side, but Beastie's doing a really good job. Can we just appreciate right now, have a look at the minimap, look at the coverage that Beastie has got here. Like, this is just absolutely ludicrous how well he is covering that minimap. So really nicely played there. And now we see another battering ram coming in. It's a slow and steady grind coming through from Beastie at this stage. No real response just yet from Corvinus, and it feels a bit weird because we've got the UI. It's switched, but it's not really. It's just that Beastie's attacking from the left side, so it just feels a little bit weird having the units over there. Have a look at this behind it. It's going to be the Shaolin Monastery that comes through. So Beastie denying out any relics being collected at this stage and going into the Shaolin Monastery. Not something that we normally see for the Juicy Legacy. Normally it's going to be the Montlu Academy that comes in. But in this circumstance, it does make sense just simply because you have the ability to collect those relics. Gilded Archer moving forward. Keep in mind, it does have that 5 armor. He's now going to be looking to try and take a fight here with the Jukunu, but just remember, they're going to be able to overwhelm the Gilded Archers and almost able to one-shot. Look at the damage that comes out right now. Absolutely insane damage. Even though he's got 5 armor, it means absolutely nothing. And this is part of the reason why I was saying, well, it's a little bit of a head scratch and not going into the stable, because, I mean, I get the idea, right? The problem is, even 5 armor just means nothing against 5 attack, because they just do so much damn bloody damage. Manages to pick up a couple of villages here, now looking to try and focus down these units individually. We'll be able to find them there as well. You can see it's going to be 2 volleys. More archers continuing to get rallied in. If the Regnitz Cathedral goes down, Corvinus could be in trouble. He needs to keep this up. This is imperative that he keeps this up. Just simply, oh, it's going to go down. He's getting the repair through. It does go down. This is, now the reason why this is bad is because it's going to cost him so much wood to actually repair this. He's not going to be able to put relics in. He's not going to be able to build prelates. This is a really smart move coming through from Beastie right now. And Corvinus is going to be sitting back in his base and just sort of wondering, okay, where do we go from here? But I'm going to be honest, this is such a beautiful strategy that's come out from Beastie here. It feels like such a cool, calm, and collected strategy. He just knew what he was going to do from the very beginning. I'm going to open up with some Shukanu, just look to put on a little bit of pressure, get a battering ram or 2 out, get him off gold, and then I'll age up myself. Such a smart play. And now behind this, the relics start to come through for the Beast. First one has been picked up. Second one now coming through as well. Third one will be coming in shortly. He's heading out over towards that west side. Meanwhile, towards the top, another Shaolin Monk runs out towards that 4th relic. And then, of course, the final 5th relic has a Shaolin Monk about to pop out for it. And things are not looking good right now for Corvinus. If you lose 5 relics after going into the Regnitz Cathedral, you're not feeling good, that is for sure. And I think a large component of that is just going to be the play style from Beastie. I think he's really read this matchup well. He's obviously a very good player, knows exactly what to do when it comes to the situation. And he's just managed to deny out those relics. And now the question is, how does Corvinus get to Imperial? Because Imperial Age is going to be the most important thing as an Order of the Dragon player. That's the most important thing that you can do. Reach Imperial because you access Swabia, the Palace of Swabia, the most important villager printer there is. So how does he get there now? I don't know. Maybe he could look for... I think you could probably go for like a Siege Workshop, a single Mangonel, and then maybe a couple of walls, and you hate to see it. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Oh my lord. How bad would it feel right now to be Corvinus, knowing that you have just seen 3 relics coming in for your opponent? Beastie able to deny every single relic on the field. Now, one thing to note, one saving grace that Corvinus has got here is that if he takes out this monastery, there is a potential, on the cards, I will say it right now, the potential for a snipe. A little bit of a heist, maybe. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But meanwhile, Corvinus is going to be just throwing up a couple more upgrades. We see Veterancy now coming through for his Gilded Archers. +2 ranged attack also on the way. And now Beastie is going to be making a little bit of a migration. We see plenty of villagers heading out over towards that west side of the map. Meanwhile, catching plenty of sun over here on the east side as there are just sacred sites for the taking. So we'll check in and see exactly how Beastie's doing on that south side and what the plan is. It looks like it's going to be a whole bunch of deer that he's opting for, bringing the Imperial Official out. And this is one of the things that I often talk about on Patreon, which if you'd like to check out, I'll leave a link in the description for any coaching content. One of the things I love to talk about whenever you're playing the Chinese or the Juicy Legacy, whenever we migrate villages, we don't go, you know, one of the things that you often see is like 5 vills down here and an outpost, and then 5 vills down here and an outpost, and then, you know, five vills over here. No. as the Juicy Legacy, what we need to do is we take every villager. Not every villager, but like 20 villagers. And we can see here, Beastie's got 16 villagers and an Imperial Official because he's going to be getting that extra 20% that comes through from the Imperial Official supervision. So that's really, really important. Have a look at this. We've got a Scout standing still and a little bit of a beeline now beginning to make way through for Corvinus. So looks like we may have ourselves a little bit of action. Meanwhile, Beastie over towards the other side of the map. You can see him out the front of his opponent's base as Palace Guard gets taken out. Keep in mind, a lot of damage on these Gilded Archers, as much as longbows have got. He's just going to bide his time right now, and we can see the Prelate is out, but unfortunately, nothing to really find here. And let's get back into it. We'll worry about that one later. Reinforcements. Not going to get picked off today. He's going to make a breakthrough. This is an interesting decision. So basically here, Corvinus is saying, I am just going to give these units up. I know these units are going to die. They were probably out of position in the first place. So what we're going to try and do here is just get as much value as we can out of these units and try and take out as many villagers as we can. And I think that's a smart play from Corvinus. We'll see how it pans out for him, because obviously being up against Beastie, you're up against one of the best players in the world, and he's going to be very aware. He's going to be hyper aware of these units, and plenty of vills on stone. It looks like we may have a potential keep drop coming in. One of the problems with the Juicy Legacy, when you do collect all the relics, is your gold goes crazy. And that's largely because you've got Imperial Officials collecting gold as well, and the relics on top. And typically you're just making like Palace Guards. They're not very gold heavy units. So once you picked up all those upgrades, it doesn't really leave you much room to do anything else. But unfortunately for Corvinus, Beastie is putting on an absolute textbook game so far. Cleaning up this raid, no damage being done, managed to pull the villagers before any real harm was done either. I think there was an Imperial Official that got picked off. Keep in mind the Imperial Official doesn't get bonus movement speed from Wheelbarrow, so it does move slower than villagers. But here, Beastie not paying attention. Villager might go down. He's going to get one of them for his troubles. I tell you what, it's definitely not what he hoped it could have been. Palace Guard's now looking to clean up. They've got their +2 ranged armor that's through. Still looking to pick up those other upgrades, and Beastie's actually got all 3 sacred sites ticking down. Just as I say that, not anymore. Not anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Not anymore. It has been a capture in the center. So how does Corvinus win this? I think almost certainly he needs to get Imperial, but even then, I'm fearful that if he gets Imperial, like how is he gonna hold? Like he just doesn't have the income to possibly do it. Crossbows now gonna be coming out as well for Corvinus. This could be the play. He's moving into ranged units, and this is one of the interesting things about the Order of the Dragon that the Holy Roman Empire can't really do, but the Order of the Dragon can. They can go into huge masses of ranged units. And we see right now that these Gilded Crossbows are trying their best to deal with the Palace Guards as they slice and dice their way through the front line. Unfortunately, there's just not enough of them, and you can see them slowly taking them out. I'm not sure whether they actually have enough damage to one shot, but did we just hear a bell? I think I heard a bell. Who was ringing bells? There was somebody ringing bells back here. Have you ever accidentally pressed the bell hotkey? I tell you what, I have done that. It's not fun. You gotta move all your villagers back. I think you can. There's technically a button to fix it, but yeah. Nice little micro that's coming in here from Corvinus as well. He's doing really well with the spacing, keeping them alive on the backside. Keep in mind they've also got that 6 tiles of range compared to, I think it's 4.5 from the Jukunu. So they've got about 1.5 tiles to play with. Just making sure that you keep that spacing in, because if the Jukunu get too close, that's going to be it. It's not going to matter that you've got all that health, because you're just going to get taken out. But now Beastie behind this. Okay, I thought he was going to go for keeps. He is just instead going to play for keeps and throws down 2 town centers. And I think this is a smart move. This is going to insulate him quite well against any potential Swabia, because you've got to remember that with Swabia, it is an explosion of villagers. So if you can get ahead of that, that's always going to feel good for you as well. And I think Beastie probably knows that the one out Corvinus has got in this game is to go for Imperial. So if Corvinus goes Imperial and then somehow manages to stall out the game, maybe like it throws a keep down and at the same time an outpost on the back with a cannon emplacement in it, then maybe there's a world where he actually manages to stay alive. And then if he does make it to late game, then it might actually be difficult for Beastie. And it will just be one of those things where it's like, okay, now I actually have to out-skill my opponent. He's out-strategized him so far in this game. But at this stage, I feel like Corvinus is definitely going to need some help if he wants to pull out from this one. All right, well, the push is starting to come to shove on this front line. 3 battering rams working their way in. I'm doing some magic over on the other side. I'm trying to find a way through. Oh, we got ourselves. What do we got? We got a little bit of a Shaolin monk raid coming through. Meanwhile, that attack on the south side continues. Now, one of the things, I wonder, can I just do this? Oh, I can do that. We can zoom in like that. That works. That works. I'll take that. All right. So Palace Guards are coming in. All right, Drongo, let's get over there. Let's not worry about that. Palace Guards now looking to blitz the front line. Zhukanu managing to make their way up through as well. You can see them just looking to try and focus down those Gilded Crossbow. Not going to be able to find it, though. Gilded Crossbows managing to space their way back. Meanwhile, battering rams, there are relics on the ground, and you can see that the prelates did try and go for a snipe. Not going to be able to find it. It's imperative that he gets relics, and we hear them unfortunately getting picked up, but it's just going to be Beastie returning them and able to continue cleaning this out. And I think this is just a case of Corvinus is making units. Well, we've still got a Shaolin monk back here in the base. Corvinus is making units, but it just feels like it's going to be a down or an uphill battle for him, because not only is he up against 5 relics, he's up against the 3 town centers that are also in play. Now, I don't know whether he's aware of that, though. That's the other thing to note. He could still be thinking his opponent is on that 1 TC. So it's a ticking time bomb right now. We'll say that much. Zhukanu numbers continuing to be pretty high, and Beastie continuing to make them, not looking to move into anything else, which is a smart move. Often you'd look to add in crossbows with your Palace Guards here, but it's not going to be the case. Sacred Site now being neutralized in the center. We hear that relic getting picked up. It's Beastie just ushering them back to a safer position in the monastery. Definitely the right call here. No pagodas just yet. Beastie's still in the Tang Dynasty. One thing to note, we still have the Tang Dynasty. No Song Dynasty coming through from just yet. So that means that the Jiangnan Tower has not been built. He's only got that Meditation Gardens. This also means he could go to Imperial for a cheaper price. If we have a look, actually, never mind. The Jiangnan Tower is coming up right now. How much does the Imperial cost? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's 2040 and 1020. But Song Dynasty now coming through. I suspect he probably realized at the last second that he didn't actually have Song Dynasty and was like, oh, because you can see the immediate reaction is throwing down all of the granaries. And so I suspect it was a case of Beastie going, oh, I need to transition into some farms here. And then immediately going, oh god, I don't have any granaries. So naturally we see that coming through. Corvinus now beginning to push in, but one of the things I'm feeling is that there's no real way that he's going to be able to do anything meaningful here. Beastie's got a decent amount of production that's back here. We can see he's got the triple archery range since the beginning and all of the barracks down here. So there's no real risk that he goes down against this many units. And I think that's probably one of the things about the Order of the Dragon that is... It's difficult to gauge. As a civilization, it's kind of funny how the devs said this civilization is meant to be a civilization for the cognitively impaired. I'm pretty sure that's what they said. I remember they said, like, when there's lots of units, it's hard. So if less units, easy. Yet... this civilization does feel like there are levels of complexity to it that civilizations like the English just don't have. The English, I don't have to think. I just make longbows. That's it. Whereas for the Order of the Dragon, it's a little bit different. And now Corvinus is going to be pushing in underneath the town center. You can definitely feel that he's trying his best to pick off more than he can chew here. Villager's going to be moving out. What's the play, though, Corvinus? He's got no stone in the bank, so not going to be looking for any kind of forward keep. Is it just going to be gold? Oh, what's he doing? Is he heading up towards this top side? You can see. Oh, he was trying to go to the boar, and he's had to walk all the way around because Beastie's walled him out on that northern side. So villagers, slowly but steadily, making their way through. We have the... what's the monastery doing? Was there something wrong with the Regnants? Okay, hold on. Corvinus is once again looking to push through. But I can't help but feel this is just another... okay, how is that villager dead? I don't know how this villager died right here. It didn't die to the boar. I've got no idea how this villager just died. Because there's nothing in the outpost. Beastie's going to pull the vills back. Meanwhile, towards the front, the push is starting to come to shove. Boar up the north, taken out. Beastie double the villager count at this stage. Not to mention the fact there's 5 relics in his back pocket. Throws the keep down. This is such a smart move as well. The more keeps that you put down, the further you insulate yourself in this game. And that's another thing to note, is that Beastie, I suspect, feels pretty well insulated in this game. I don't think that he's too worried about much. We see Horsemen now going to be coming through. So, Order of the Dragon going for this ranged combo. I'm going to be honest, I'm not really a fan. Didn't really like it. I feel like probably could have opened with Gilded Knights. I don't know. What do you guys think? Was it just a case of Beastie knowing exactly how to deal with the Order of the Dragon? Was that what it was? Or was it the fact that he went into the ranged units? Because Prelate Snipe. Oh, we got ourselves a heist. The WOLOLO God managing to bring himself back in. Needs to take these relics back, though. Go on. Get him back there. And now he's going to buy himself time. I mean, the problem is, he should have had these relics 15 minutes ago. Like, he's missed out on 160 gold every minute from these 2 relics. So 320. 320 times 15. You're talking about almost 5,000 gold that he's missed out on because he's only just secured these relics now and going to be looking to push for... Oh my god, that's a lot of units. Oh god. Oh, Lord. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Horseman numbers are absolutely ludicrous. He's up to 29 horsemen right now as he begins to go through the WOLOLO God, defending the ranged unit composition. He's got a second one as well. Does manage to pick off that first WOLOLO attempt. Needs to focus the heals. Not going to be able to find it. And now, meanwhile, the double WOLOLO not going to happen. He's just spamming the WOLOLO. The WOLOLO God trying, but unfortunately, there's no more prelates left. And with that, I suspect there is no more game left. Ladies and gentlemen, go check him out. I'll leave links in the description of where you can watch him live. Tell you what, though, an impressive game from Beastie there. Unfortunately, from Corvinus, just gets sniped out at the end. If one of those had gone off, maybe we would have had a game on our hands. But I tell you what, he took it right to the end. Anyway, go check him out. Links in the description. We'll catch you in the next one.